This week on Sailing Chaos, Dennis heads to Chicago to buy a project boat.
So we leave Annapolis and we come up with a plan to buy a boat.
We had to first pin down what our must-haves were, what our non-negotiables were. For me, one thing was it had to have a steering wheel versus a tiller.
And I wanted a trailer. I wanted the freedom and flexibility to be able to haul it out when we needed to, bring it to our shop, and work on it all winter. We've got a long winter here in New York, so I knew we would have many months to do upgrades and repairs and stuff to it. And just makes sense to have us have a trailer to be able to bring it to where we want to. We knew we were putting it in Sackett's Harbor, which is an hour away, so it should be nothing as far as a trailer ride.
So once we had our non-negotiables, we pretty much had a budget in mind. So we started the search. We were checking online. Dennis was calling around to local marinas. A lot of those kind of slipped through our cracks. So a couple of responses were, "Oh, I just destroyed that boat a week ago," or "I just sold that boat, for."
Now I'm gonna stop right there. People that we were calling said that they were destroying boats, and we just missed it. A couple boats were 25 footers. I think there was a 27 footer. They had nobody to come claim these boats, and they just destroyed. They literally took a chainsaw and cut them up and threw them in a dumpster.
It was the end of the season here. They didn't want to store them anymore, so they literally put them in the dumpster. Like, that to me is crazy.
Yeah.
So sad. So we did we searched for a few weeks. Dennis finally found one online. The only problem was it was in Chicago, which is a little bit of a distance from us.
It was a perfect boat based on the pictures and the conversation we had with the seller. It had the steering wheel. It had a trailer with it. It looked in good condition. There was only 3 or 4 pictures that we had to go off of, but it looked like it had everything we needed. So that was what we set our eyes on, and we jumped right on it because, like Carrie said, it was the end of the season. We were running out of options, and we wanted to get our project boat to have something to work on this season.
This was a leap of faith for sure, taking a trip out to Chicago to see a boat, probably buy a boat sight unseen.
Yeah, and so part of it is getting out there, which obviously we could do easily, but then getting the boat back was the other problem if we ended up liking it.
This cat wanted to drive it back himself.
That was my plan. It was 10 foot wide, found out toll booths are just a little bit bigger than that. You're supposed to have a bunch of special permits, but I was willing to risk it and do it after speaking to several people.
Well, Dennis was like, "I can do it. I totally got this." He was going to bring one of our employees. He was going to help him hook it up and do whatever. And the employee was like, "You're crazy." So we talked him out of it eventually.
So with only a few days left, we put the bid up on UShip, and we waited and waited and waited, and nobody was bidding to take our boat back. And we didn't put a price or anything because we really were...
We had no idea what the price would be.
And we wanted anybody to jump on it because we just needed to get it back. And it was like the last day or so before we were about to head out there, a shipping company messaged us, didn't even bid on it, just messaged and said, what are the odds of you guys actually taking this boat? And I said, based on the pictures and the description the seller is giving us, it's pretty, it's almost a go. I said, barring we get there and there's no hole in the hull or something like that, we're pretty much going to take this boat.
Yeah, we had discussed and basically said, we're taking the boat as long as it'll float. Pretty much was our only
Anything else we should be able to figure out. So they arranged everything and had it all set up. I was to arrive
He left on a Monday morning around, 6 or 7 a.m.
Got there about 6 o'clock at night, and the shipping company was due in a day or so.
Was due the following day in the afternoon, right?
Yeah, they ended up getting there about 10 p.m.
On Tuesday.
But we'll stop right here, and we'll let you guys catch up with the video.
The trip out went by incredibly fast. Dennis and our neighbor Mo made great time. They helped pass the time by stopping in each state to buy Mega Millions lotto tickets because, hey, you never know. The jackpot at this time was the highest it has ever been, so it was pretty exciting. They got to their destination around 6 p.m. Dennis was really excited and nervous to get the first look at the boat. Now remember, he really has no idea what he should be looking for. I mean, other than the obvious, like looking to see if there's a big hole or any soft spots on the deck. Everything else would be by gut and instinct. He started his inspection, walking the top deck looking for any soft spots, cracks, and stress points. He then made his way inside, checking the engine. He couldn't turn it over because he didn't have a battery nor the knowledge of how to do so safely. He checked every hatch and compartment, seeing if the layout would work. He was trying to see if anything had been repaired previously or was trying to be covered up. As you can see, there were things just tossed everywhere, so it took some time to make sense of what it all was. We hung on to what was salvageable, and the rest of it hit the curb. In the head, he admired the lovely wallpaper and chuckled to himself because he knows I despise wallpaper and would gladly tear that yellow crap down. The next morning, he arranged to meet up with the seller in a local town for breakfast at a place called Buttermilk. It was just how you would imagine a rural town being, with great scenery and friendly people. After the negotiations, they finally struck a deal. But to seal the deal, Dennis would pay $50 on a breakfast. He headed back to the boat to prep for the shipping company that was arriving at 10 p.m. that evening. He had to remove all the water from the bilge. He tried using the water accumulation as a negotiating point, but the buyer insisted that he only ever gets about 5 gallons of water in there. It was nothing. He quickly shot Dennis down. Well, 35 gallons later, Dennis finally had all the water out of that bilge. Next, he took the sails to a field to lay them out and see the condition of them and what he actually had. Although I'm not sure why that wasn't done before negotiating a price. We believe we have one mainsail, a spinnaker, and a storm jib. Let us know in the comments if we're wrong. We would love to know what we actually have, as we haven't hoisted them yet. After all this, they then met the seller at his house where he insisted that Dennis take a bunch of boat stuff he had in storage. He was really excited about giving us the air conditioning unit he used for it. As you'll see, we ended up hauling back the ancient AC unit. We took his word for it that it still worked, however, we don't plan on using it in our boat.
So 10 p.m. I meet Diego, which was the shipping guy, at the place where the boat was, and he hooks up the lights to the trailer, and nothing turns on. And he won't take the trailer, obviously for safety reasons, without the lights working. So Diego and I worked until about 3 a.m. Fortunately, there was a Walmart Supercenter close by, so we could run and get more supplies because we needed them. And 3 a.m. we got the lights working finally, and off he hightailed it to get out of Chicago.
Trying to beat rush hour and all of that in the city.
Yeah, that was his main goal. He kept reassuring, I got to get out of Chicago before morning. And then it was 9 a.m. I think the next morning. I was already on the highway headed back home, and I get a phone call from Diego. The tires weren't going to work. Apparently they were all dry rotted. So it was $400 and an hour of time. They had all the tires replaced, the bearings were greased, and he was back on the highway.
Going a whopping 45 miles per hour.
Yeah, that's as fast as he could go with the haul that he was hauling. So we beat him home, we unloaded our van, and he didn't arrive back until 1:30 a.m. I met him at the thruway exit, and he followed me to where the boat needed to go. And that's where our story leaves off.
Now she's at our shop.
So the next videos you'll see is us tearing into her and upgrading and repairing and doing all the fun stuff. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button. Make sure you're subscribing to the video so you can be updated when new ones come out.
So you can see this face.
And we appreciate you guys following along.
Thanks, guys.
See you later.